Now, South Africa's ruling African National Congress is holding a strong lead from Wednesday's election. The ANC needs a two-thirds majority in parliament to change the constitution and unilaterally enact legislation. Official results are expected to be released this weekend. And now joining us by phone from Johannesburg to discuss these elections is VOA's Scott Bobb in Johannesburg. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
Even though these results are only expected to be released officially this weekend, it's safe to say the ANC seems to be close to that two-thirds majority.
Yes, that's correct. Given the expected turnout of 77 to 80%, with 15 million votes counted, the ANC has more than 10 million. So statistically, they already have half of the total available votes, and so will be in charge of the next government, and this should make the ANC President Jacob Zuma South Africa's next president.
Now, even though the ANC has always contended that it will and would win these elections, would you say it had to campaign extra hard this time because of the competition from the opposition, including the Democratic Alliance and the Congress of the People, COPE?
Yes, just about everyone is saying these have been the most exciting, rigorously competed elections since those of 1994 that ended apartheid. And this is in part due to the advent of COPE, due to some disgruntlement with the ANC's record in certain parts of the population, and also a sense there's new leadership within the ANC itself. So it's been a very exciting, very hotly contested, and very colorful election campaign.
Now, of course, a lot of challenges are awaiting the ANC. It has been strongly criticized for not addressing very vital issues, including providing adequate housing, fighting and alleviating poverty and unemployment. What do you see changing on that front?
Well, first, it should be said that the ANC has created millions of jobs, built more than 2 million low-cost houses, and has also expanded electricity in rural areas and delivered many services and others. But there remains a large segment of the population, the poorest of the poor, that still have really not benefited from the economic prosperity and the freedom that came with the end of apartheid 15 years ago. So the challenges remain, and these are well understood by everyone. More jobs, fighting poverty, fighting crime and corruption, delivering services such as better health care services, improving education, and infrastructure comes a bit later, further down on the list. But it's a tall order, and resources are limited. So there are human resources limitations as well. So there's a lot to be done, but this is recognized by really virtually every political leader in the country.
Scott, speaking about Mr. Zuma specifically and him as a potential president of South Africa, he's been criticized maybe, and many are already anticipating that he may not tackle corruption in terms of even trying to enforce the rule of law because of his own past, you know, the charges that he was just exonerated on, these corruption charges. What do you see his abilities being now on that front?
He has been a polarizing figure in that many people obviously think very highly of him and like him, and there are people that revile him. The corruption charges, which he maintains were politically motivated, were eventually dismissed 2 weeks before the election on just such implications that there had been meddling in the investigations for political reasons. Also, there was his rape trial, for which he was acquitted, but in which he made some statements, such as taking a shower to prevent transmission of HIV/AIDS, that also did not sit well with people. Finally, for a portion of the population, his traditional lifestyle, he is a polygamist and he's very traditional. He has many children, and they feel that this sets a poor example in a country with one of the highest HIV/AIDS infection rates in the world. So, on the other hand, there's a large segment of the population that approves of his traditional values and his flaunting his traditions and being unafraid to appear in a leopard skin and dance with people. And he does have charisma, and he does listen, and this is something that people found lacking in the previous government.
Scott Bobb, thank you so much for all that insight from Johannesburg.